Welcome to General English class for 2nd BA 4th semester. This is session number 28. In this session, we are going to see an introduction to Sandhya Suri. I am Mercy Victoria, Assistant Professor of English, Government First Grade College, Kanakpura. In the previous session, we saw who Sandhya Suri is. Sandhya Suri is a first woman officer to serve in the warship. At present, she is retired. She has been a wonderful author, poet, entrepreneur, TEDx speaker, and a motivational speaker. So, after retiring from Navy, she had served in several places. She had moved to Nigeria, where she worked in a company as a HR for 10 years. Due to her family commitments, she came back to India and she settled in Chennai right now. This is a lesson prescribed for 4th semester BA under Bangalore University. It is called An Interview with Sandhya Suri to the Better India. So, through this lesson, we'll be able to understand what Sandhya Suri is and how she got inspired, who was her motivator, and what were the fond memories she had as a naval officer, and what made her to join armed forces in particular. This is an interview by Sandhya Suri to the paper called The Better India, otherwise called as TBI. Sandhya Suri, as we all know, was the first woman officer to serve in the warship. She was the cadet of 3rd Navy Academy batch, which comprised of 14 lady candidates. So there were 13 more cadets with her in that batch. Her work life was quite versatile. She had several years of experience, and the roles she had played during her Navy tenure was very diverse. She had worked both in international and in India in the fields like logistics, sales, customer care, administration, human resource, and training. So these are the various fields where Sandhya Suri had worked. And in this particular session, we will see about her inspiration and how she was before joining the armed forces. Sandhya Suri was a merit graduate, arts graduate from University of Jammu. She was pursuing her MA in English literature, and she was also an amazing sportswoman, and sportsmanship quality she had. She was basically a basketball player who played for the state team. Apart from doing her masters, she was also preparing for IPS. She is currently the executive director of Devout Private Limited, Chennai. She was the only lady from her family, first lady from her family to serve in the armed forces. This is her story as per her interview at the Better India TBI. Let us now see how she got into the armed forces. Sandhya Suri was 22 years old when she received a call from Naval Academy in the year 1992. She was pursuing or she was studying Masters in English, MA in English Literature in the University of Jammu, and she was also preparing for IPS. So, from this, we understand that she always had a fascination or intention of joining the civil services. When she received the call from Naval Academy, she immediately dropped everything and joined Navy. Her greatest inspiration was her family. Two, she was quite fascinated by the uniform of the armed forces. So she had always had the intention of joining the armed forces. She was quite, you know, interested in that uniform, which was very attractive and which gave um, a major self-respect for people. So according to the interview, she says that probably she was fascinated by the interview, and she that made her to join the armed forces. As a result, she not only applied for Navy, she also applied for Army and Air Force. So when she got the call from Navy, she immediately agreed to join. So apart from preparing for IPS, she was also teaching English at the Army school, and from this we understand that she was, you know, a bright student academically and in sports as well. So she was basically a basketball player who was playing for the state basketball team. So as she had applied for Navy, Army and Air Force, she chose to join Navy. So once after deciding to join Navy, she we see her, first thing we see her reaction, how she felt after uh, getting a placement in the Navy Academy. So she was quite excited, happy, her dream come true. So let's also see her parents' reaction. Father, if we take her father, always encouraged and supported and ecstatic. Yes, father was a major support in her life. He was a person who always encouraged her to follow her dreams and support her in all her endeavors. And as a result, he was quite excited, very happy for having his daughter got a place in Naval Academy. If we look at her mother's reaction, it was not similar to her father's. um, as we all know, mothers are always quite, scared of their daughters and very protective of their daughters. So her initial reaction was she was quite scared to send her daughter. In fact, terrified to send her daughter. One, she was quite scared how she would manage because, as we saw in the previous session, armed forces is something which was a male-dominated domain, and she was quite worried how her daughter is going to survive there because she need to have quite a lot of strength and stamina and mental ability in order to survive there in the armed forces. And not only that, another important thing why her mother was very scared was that she was the only girl from their family to enter into armed forces, first girl child to enter into the armed forces. So she did not have any other person to look forward to or ask opinions. So quite, we can imagine her situation, mother's situation, how she must have felt. But then that did not stop her from allowing her daughter to, you know, pursuing her dreams. So as a result, Sandhya Suri joined the armed forces. So from till now, what we have seen was Sandhya Suri got a call at the age of 22. She was at the time pursuing her PG, BA, MA in English Literature, and along with that, she was also doing her IPS, and she was also teaching at the Army School. She was teaching English for the students, and then she was also a bright student academically and in the physical education or sports. She was playing basketball for the state team. So this was the background, and her father was quite a motivator and encouraged her, always supported her in her endeavors and encouraged her to join the Navy. Whereas her mother was little apprehensive in her joining the armed forces, especially Navy. But then family support was there, so she was able to, join the armed forces. After joining a Naval Academy, she was commissioned on 18th August 1994 and served there for 7 long years. During her tenure there, in 7 years, she had several training. She had to undergo lots of training in several other places. Let's see one by one which are the places she had underwent training. First and foremost, she was placed in Naval Academy in Goa. Then she had to go to Kochi in club CLABS, and then later Hamla School of Management and Logistics in Mumbai. MBCD basic training at Lonavala, and then a ship's attachment on now decommissioned aircraft carrier INS Vikant. After these rigorous training in various places, she got posted to the Eastern Command. So, as I told you earlier in the previous session, we saw how these people are trained and how their challenges are, quite challenging. In fact, the training are quite challenging. We have we could see Sandhya Suri having an overall training at Naval Academy in Goa or in Cochin, and she must have got a hands-on training in Hamla School of Management and Logistics in Mumbai, and then later the basic training at Lonavala before she got posted in Eastern Command. So this is how her initial stages were, and she was prepared to face the challenges once she got posted to the Eastern Command. So thus, in this particular session, we saw how Sandhya Suri, the first woman naval officer to serve in the warship, she served in Navy for 14 years, after which she got retired. And her, life mantra is to live, live life to the fullest, make the best use of the life. That's how we see even today. She is uh, an epitome of courage and strength, and she lives by an example. She is a person who's a inspiration for many women out there. And not only that, she is also an entrepreneur, a TEDx speaker, a motivational speaker, a woman with courage and strength. So in the following sessions, we will see what were her challenges which were faced by Sandhya Suri, and what were her fond memories while working in the warship, and how her life was in the Navy in particular, or in armed forces. I hope you all understood the introduction about Sandhya Suri. Let us continue in the next session. Thank you.